And
to it.
welcome to the Grow Bridge. I'm Ivo-Castillo, your host here in Miami. This podcast is for entrepreneurs and leaders with strong ties with Latin America who want to understand how Anglo founders think about growth, leadership, and decision making, and how to apply their mindset in your own business. Today, I'm excited to have John Temple. He's the founder of AmuseLabs.com. Hi, John. How are you?
Hi, Ivo. It's great to be here. Thanks. I'm fine.
Thank you for being here too. Let's start. First, tell about a little bit about you, your background, and what is your role here in Amuse Lab.
Thank you. Sure. So, given that we're talking to Latin America, I'm going to point out one thing. I actually am not I was not born in the United States. I'm like many an immigrant to the United States. I was born in Canada, actually, and came to the United States as a graduate student in journalism. And the bulk of my career is as a reporter, editor, publisher, creator of news websites. And I've been the uh, editor, president, and publisher of the former Rocky Mountain News in Denver. I was the managing editor of the Washington Post. I've done a lot I founded Honolulu Civil Beat, a local news site in Hawaii. So I've done a lot of different things in journalism. In 2013, I left the Washington Post and went to Stanford for a year as a senior fellow, as a journalist, because I was so interested in what I felt was the current mobile revolution that was happening. And I felt that we as journalists, in particular, as editors, were not adapting to it and running as quickly as we needed to in that area. And in that time, I aligned myself with the computer science department, and in particular, the Moby Social Computing Lab, which is where I met my co-founders of Amuse Labs. And ultimately in 2014, my two other co-founders who are from India and today live in India, where most of our team is based, we started a company called Amuse Labs. And in 2017, we became really much more of a viable business. We had found product market fit in um, helping publishers bring games online that had always been an important part of newspapers and other print publications. And in 2019, I became full-time really with Amuse Labs, and it's a bootstrapped company. It's not venture funded. And today we work globally in more than 40 languages. And I'm the chairman and co-founder. Really, what I mainly work on is business development and strategy. I help partners be successful, and help find partners and show them opportunities that they could, take advantage of to be more successful both in building engagement and in growing revenue.
And that came in a simple words for our audience. What is Amuse Lab? What is the value? What is exactly what does Amuse Lab?
Amuse Labs is a CMS, a content management system for word and logic games, which are typically what has historically been in newspapers. So crosswords, word search, word wheel, which is a spelling game, Sudoku, killer Sudoku, many games. We support about 15 games. And the CMS can be used to either create or upload, ingest games, edit games, schedule games, publish games, and receive analytics in real actionable analytics about the games so that you can improve the performance of the games. So it's a full CMS for games to be used by publishers, and in today's world everyone is a publisher.
Correct. who is this for? You talk about everyone is a publisher, but who is your
Uh,
ideal? Like, what is the intent? What is the? I know there is cultural gamification that the user, the normal person, would like to like, engage with these kind of games. We used to do that in paper, right?
mhm.
Physically. Now I don't know how is the behavior of that user online. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So our customer is typically a journalistic organization. Our main market is journalism organizations, newspapers, magazines, websites. We work with the Los Angeles Times, the New York Post, the Guardian. We work with publications, The Atlantic. We work all over. So our customer is the publisher, but the end user is the ultimate customer, and that is a person who enjoys playing a game. And so we try to provide a very positive, great user experience to the end user so that the publisher doesn't have to worry about that, which is quite complex. We also make available our software for people to create games. And so we have teachers and others using the software in all kinds of different contexts. But our typical customer is a journalistic organization that is a publisher that wants to have a reason for people to return every day to play a game and have a joyful or pleasant or challenging experience.
And how do they discover you? How do they discover Amuse Lab? How do you
That's a
get?
great
Yeah.
question, Ivo. The way that we have we are, I would say, a very strong engineering and product company with light marketing. So our principal marketing tool is that all the games that we support say powered by Puzzle Me, which is the name of our CMS, at the bottom of the game, and it's a link to our website. And that is how most people find us. Now we've built a newsletter over the years, and we have thousands of people who subscribe to our monthly newsletter. But I think the principal way people discover us is organic search.
Really? Wow, that's powerful.
I
That's it.
think it is because it means that we're not spending a lot on marketing, but we're being discovered because we have very high, search ranking for certain searches. And people look at a site and they go, well, I love, Vox.com. So I'm going to look at Vox or NewYorkMagazine.com. And when they look, they're going to see powered by Puzzle Me. And they go, well, what's Puzzle Me? They click on Puzzle Me and now they're in our site and they learn. And so our website is our principal marketing site because that's where people learn about us and they can book a demo, there's documentation, there's all kinds of information on our website.
And that brings me to, and that is how you're marketing or you targeting B2B, because I suppose, and maybe our audience will be interested about this. Okay, I am a publisher in kind of way. I'm an influencer. I want to do things from my small company, but the business is not with me. The business is with the New York Times. The business is with the big publishers where they, I guess, use better bandwidth, better search. It's a more complex product as a service to them. How do you get? How do you target them?
How did we target the big customers?
Yes, the B2B, like the real ones.
We are a B2B business,
Yes.
realistically. Partly luck, Evo. Our first significant customer was the Washington Post. Once you have a customer that's as highly respected as the Washington Post, it's very difficult for any other customer to say, well,
No.
you're not good enough, reliable enough, stable enough,
Yeah.
serious enough to work with us because you haven't proven yourself. So, one thing we did, and I think it's really valuable and a good lesson, is think big. We the Washington Post, we responded to an RFP. Now, I had the benefit of I knew people at the Washington Post because I had worked there and they knew me, but we still had to win the RFP, and we won an RFP. And once we won that RFP, it was like planting a flag where we're among the best because we're at one of the great news organizations of the world, and that opened up many other doors for us.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of have the contact, reach them. Hey, look what I do. Look who I work with.
Right. I think it's really now in this case, one interesting lesson is we worked with them on something else for free before we did crosswords
That
as a
is important.
business.
That
And
is important.
the thing we did with them was we worked with the international desk at the Washington Post to create a weekly crossword about international news. And it was an experiment to learn for them to learn about could they present content in a different way that people would really enjoy. And as a result, they got to know our software. But we weren't trying to make money when we were doing that. We were trying to learn. So I think experimenting is really, really important to try to find that product market fit. We didn't know that what publishers really needed was a way to play the games that had been traditionally popular online because their audience had moved online, but they hadn't moved their games online as well as they had moved their other content.
Yeah. That is very interesting. Very interesting. And for our audience in Latin America,
Yeah.
did you like jump the bridge, for so to speak, in related our grow bridge? Did you jump the bridge? Did you have presence? You told us that you have presence in 40 different languages. Is there any other markets that are relevant to you besides, I guess, United States and North America?
Yes. I mean, that's a great question. Look, I think it cannot be discounted how powerful an economic engine the US economy is and the opportunity in the US. It's hard to find anything that compares to it. But we work in the UK, in Ireland, we work in Europe, we work in India, we work in Australia, of course, in Canada. Frankly, we've struggled in Latin America because our pricing structure, the economics are difficult for us in Latin America, and we've never found the right fit. But the European community, like I think the UK, Australia, Canada, the United States, and the European community provide a tremendous amount of opportunity, and I wouldn't discount any of those as being markets worth exploring.
You mentioned something about price structure and economics thing about Latin America. Tell us, what is that constraint? What do you think is that constraint? It's just because, I don't know, maybe is the willing to pay the return of the investment, or is simply a cultural thing?
No, it's a great question. I think first, our pricing is a usage-based model. We basically tell customers, we want to help you grow, and we want to be rewarded we want both parties to be rewarded for the growth that we produce because we see ourselves as partners rather than vendors. We know that if you follow best practices, you should see steady growth, and we can help you grow and we can help the publisher grow revenue to support their journalism. We can help them grow engagement. And so we try to align the incentives where, and our business model is based on a per gameplay fee. And the reality is that gameplay fee is based on the US market and what a publisher, how a publisher can monetize many times over the value of a single gameplay. So when you go to Latin America, where the advertising market is different and the cost structure, and then we're paid in US dollars. Like we are paid in US dollars. So when you have an inflationary environment, when Argentina, like for example, when the Argentina had serious inflation, to be stuck paying in US dollars can be a disaster, right? And so I think it's really that our business model is based on the US economics, and we've tried to standardize that across the world, and it really is a struggle to do that in Latin America, although we would like to. That's a great question. So first, I think you said something really important about the quality of the product. It is really important to be obsessed with product quality. And I credit my co-founders, who are both technologists, in their commitment to meeting what I would say are the highest standards and expectations. I mean, they're just so we started very narrowly, only doing crosswords. We only supported crosswords to begin with because that is the core game. So I think your point about product is just really, really important because it's everything. Like if you don't have, like, what's the point after that? What do I spend my time? What do we spend our time in? One thing as a bootstrapped company, and we are a bootstrapped company, is the founders have to spend a lot of time on business development and essentially sales, education of the marketplace. And in our case, that has fallen largely the to two of us, while one of us really works with customers when they come on board, or two of us. And so customer education and moving through the contracting process, because the reality is we might know a lot about the puzzle world, but the publisher doesn't. And they have so many questions and so many requirements that some deals take a long time. And that is very difficult for a small company, when you're looking for revenue, but you have to. So we spend a lot of time talking to customers, both before they sign a contract, after they sign a contract, being on regular communication with them. What are their priorities? What are they learning? What are they seeing? What are we learning? How can we help them? What's new? So most of my time is spent interacting with potential and current customers.
That's good. And that's bring me another question. So, what belief did you have drop to pursuing this project?
Games, but learning games. And the reason I thought that was important was that as a journalist and as an editor, there's only so many headlines and articles people read before they become tired of the format. It's so repetitive to read constant, headline, article, headline, article, headline, article. And I believed that people were looking for interactive experiences, that they would learn instead of headline article, that they would learn by playing through play. through interacting by doing something on their own. Store in Portland and produce a game every month about roses. And Memphis, Tennessee is famous for jazz music. And I could produce games that taught me the history of jazz and the different rhythms and the sounds. And core to our original vision was that we were not going to be stuck in the print past, that we were going to incorporate video, audio, and images into it was going to be rich media, was going to be part of what we did, fully native to rich media. Others. That's a great question. I think the hardest thing is one is the sales cycle is just so challenging and repetitive. And it would be so good if you could make it easier to acquire and onboard customers, especially enterprise level customers. It's just a lot of work, from contracting to demonstrations to all the things that you have to do in the sales cycle. And then the other is that we we try to make the software as self-serve as possible so that really people don't need us. And we don't, because we don't want to be required to be constantly responding to customer needs, that we want it to be simple for them to do things that we don't have to get involved and support. So I think the two things, sales cycle and making it as self-serve and easy to use as possible. And by the way, it's easy to use. Like it's really quite easy to use software. But I say that because I know that working on customer success is so demanding that if you could lower that time, you could do more research and development and more creation. And so simplifying sales and simplifying customer success.
What that you have learned in this journey that is that another entrepreneurs can take as an advice. The second will be, what is your mindset? How do you wake up every day? Think.
The questions are related
Yes.
because if you are a business owner, there is no such thing as 9 to 5. There's no such thing as I only think about my business at this time of day or this, because running a business, building and running a business is really difficult. There are so many aspects to it, from meeting regulatory and tax requirements, accounting, all these things that, they're not my passion, right? So I think one takeaway I've had is it is not easy to build a successful business. Two, like, for example, when I go for a run, which I like to run. So when I go for a run, I may get an idea while I'm running that I immediately come home and start thinking, okay, this is something we could do, or this is. So it's fully part of your life. So I think it's really important for a business owner, entrepreneur, to do something that they care about. And I think all three of us have cared about, at the core, creating positive experiences for people, education, learning, and supporting journalism as a core part. So, you know, I've definitely seen how challenging it is, and knowing what's important and keeping your eye on what's important is really something. And by the way, I think one other thing, and I think it's a really incredible thing of this era, is, and it should be said about us, it's impossible to imagine businesses being run the way they can be today, even just 10 or 15 years ago. I'm based in San Francisco. We have someone based in New Jersey. We have someone based in in Washington, D.C., and we have somebody based in San Jose. but the bulk of our team is in Bangalore, India, 13 and a half hours ahead of me. And so we are truly, and our customers work, from Australia to Japan. So we are a global company.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should think like that today. Like, you don't have to be, it's very challenging. It's very difficult. It's not easy to be working remotely in this way, but it's possible today. And that opens up so many doors. And I think that's a really exciting part of it. It's an exciting for entrepreneurs in Latin America because it means they can either not have any footprint in the United States and just travel here, or maybe have one person in the United States more focused on biz development and sales and be running the business somewhere else. And the customer is happy to work over Zoom, except like the largest customers. I mean, you want to visit them regularly and stay in much, more regular contact. But we try to be really in contact regular basis over Zoom and of course email and newsletters and all those kinds of things. But we live in an era where you can be in Sao Paulo and you can be effectively working in the United States. And I think that's fantastic. And it taps great human potential, which I think makes the world a better place.
So that was great, John. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for
You're
for
very welcome. Thanks for asking the questions.
thank you for sharing these insights. So any other advice to our audience?
No, I think I appreciate you asking the questions, and I wish others success. And it's not easy, but it's nice being your own boss. I never liked having a boss. That was always a challenge for me. It's not easy even not having a boss,
Yes.
but it's better than having a boss.
So thank you so much. Thank you, people, for listening our podcast to watch. See you next time.